All right, now on to our many numerous guests. I first want to thank two city councilors who are here, City Councilor Rosemary Reynolds and City Councilor Jody Joseph, who are here helping us to honor and celebrate a number of community members who are part of our Fitchburg Cultural Council. Some of the members of the Fitchburg Cultural Council are here, some of the recipients of the awards are here, and we're having a little reception right here in the Veterans Room. But before we get to them, I wanted to bring up Mary Heafy, who's the Executive Director of ARC, and she is she's a dynamo. I've enjoyed getting to know her since she started working for ARC. Was it the beginning of last year?
August of 2009.
August of 2009. Okay, so I missed 3 months, but so I'm going to invite Mary to come up and join me. We've got a lot to talk about. You can't see it on a camera now, but there's three pretty funky looking pieces of art right here that we're going to get to talk about more. But you know, some of you have been able to read the newspaper today, and the news has broke about I think one of the largest gifts I personally have ever seen. If we want to talk a little bit more about first your project, and then we can talk about the great news surrounding your project. So ARC has been around for a long time. Hundreds and hundreds of people are being served currently. I can't think of, it's probably tens of thousands of lives that your program has touched over your existence in Fitchburg. But one of the major steps that ARC has taken is this past decade is made the commitment to move into the old Sears building on Main Street, and just done a wonderful job renovating that building. Not an easy project. As somebody who has worked in redevelopment projects before, they are not easy. You never know what you find. You never know what you find. And of course, it takes millions of dollars. So let's talk a little bit about what ARC is up to and what you're undertaking right now.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Wong. We have been really revitalizing the renovation campaign, the capital campaign. Our slogan that's been across Main Street is Revitalize Fitchburg, Renovate the ARC. And we really believe that we take up most of a block of downtown, and I think, as you've pointed out before, we're the largest employer in downtown. So we're renovating the facility that was the old Sears and Roebuck building, making it fully accessible, making it easier for local businesses to use us for their subcontract work, providing job training for people, getting them out into jobs in the community, creating taxpayers to add to our economic base. So that's been going on. And since I got there, we really relooked at the project that was somewhat stalled, and started doing some trimming. So brought the project from over $5 million down to just over $4 million. And just this week, we were able to announce the most amazing gift, a donation of $600,000 from an anonymous donor through the Community Foundation of North Central. And the message from the person who made the donation, and truly I have no idea who it is that we do such important work with people with developmental and intellectual disabilities of all ages and their families, and he or she was committed to getting the project done. So that influx of money really means that we are about to roll full time again, full speed ahead in finishing the project. Now that said, we're still $1 million short. And so I'm hoping that people won't hear of $600,000 and saying, great, they're all set. Because the truth of the matter is we still need help, and we're hoping that large and small donations from throughout the community will come in. I actually had a family visit today, the grandparents of 4 young men, age 11 to 16. And one of their family's practices is at Christmas time, the grandparents certainly give each of the boys a gift, but they also give them cold, hard cash and a challenge. And what they tell them is that the 4 boys, two pairs of brothers, need to agree, they need to research and agree on a local charity to give money to. And I was asked to put a packet together for the boys to evaluate, and we were lucky, they picked us. And so today they came into the office, pulling out some crumpled bills that they've been holding on to, and they're actually renovating 2 squares of the building, 2 square feet of the building. You know, it's just to me such a wonderful story of how families instill a sense of community responsibility and stewardship in young people. And these 4 boys wrote their dedication, and one was to a deceased grandparent who meant so much to them.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And they couldn't wait to go home and tell their meme, what they had done to honor him. And the other was to an uncle who had died of lung cancer but had been a second dad to these boys. And so I was so deeply touched by their generosity, their caring, and in such admiration of their grandparents for teaching the boys this.
That's so wonderful. And a legacy like that will live on forever. So just to back up a little bit, because we actually talked about this when you launched the program, the
We
Renovate
did.
a Square program is, for those of you who are doing a lot of any renovation work, you might talk in square footages and how much it costs per square foot to renovate any space. And I know that one of the most expensive types of renovation projects is to take a historic building and make it new, especially when you're taking something and putting so much activity into it. A
Absolutely.
big vacant space that might have just housed a lot of goods is now going to be program rooms and bathrooms and kitchens and offices and all these wonderful things that cost
Absolutely.
money to build out. So it's awesome that you guys took on something like that, and I just love all the innovative ways you've been able to sort of make yourself known and give ways for people to donate. So the Renovate a Square is a program that you can actually go on to the ARC website and you can see
You were
the
among the
layout.
first.
I was, because I get excited about those things.
Yes.
So you were definitely speaking to my audience group, and you get to go and you get to see all the plans for the building, and then you actually get to
click
pick
on-
which square you want in what room. So and then know that you could dedicate that square
That's right.
to somebody or something, and that you have made that particular square possible, so that when you go into the building, you can stand in your square and you can say, I paid for this.
That's right. And Mayor Wong, shall we tell people you picked the relaxation room? And I think given the intensity of your job, that was a great choice.
I did, and I didn't actually dedicate my square to, I think, any one person in particular.
The revitalization
I-
of Fitchburg.
The revitalization of Fitchburg. That was who I dedicated to.
Absolutely.
I should have put the revitalization and relaxation of all the citizens of Fitchburg, because I think that's something we all need right now.
And we're hoping that people, and it's $150 to renovate a square. And for some folks, that's more than their budget will allow. But what we found is that several people have gotten together and they've renovated a square jointly. So it's been fun, and it's fun to click on and see the dedications people write. So we're hoping more people will be involved in that with us.
That's great. And of course, you're also accepting donations through the Community Foundation.
Absolutely.
So certainly individuals like this person who's anonymous.
And the
that's
Community
a very
Foundation-
convenient way to donate.
And by having this work through the Community Foundation, I think it just is that one more seal of approval and credibility. They vetted us thoroughly to make sure that this project was realistic, it was really going to happen, and came away saying this is the place to put our funds.
That's
so
fantastic.
That's been wonderful.
I'm glad to hear. So tell us about some of your latest efforts.
Oh, the chairs
I wanna get
that
to
are
these
over
chairs.
here. There's a number of latest efforts, but one of the things we realized was in our basement we had about 80 chairs that came to us many, many years ago when some of the state hospitals, in this case it was Munson Developmental Center, were downsizing or ultimately closing. And if you think about the history of people with developmental and intellectual disabilities, it was actually common practice and recommendation 50 and 60 years ago for a family who gave birth to a child with a developmental disability to say, institutionalize them, go on and have other children. And some of the pioneer families of the ARC bucked that trend and said, no, we're going to raise our child at home, which of course is now what happens for all children. But those chairs, there were some of the folks that we serve who were institutionalized because it was the recommendation. They're now in the community.
A lot of things have come a long way, and I think ARC's been huge in terms of their advocacy and continued advocacy for quality of life.
And 60 years of our experience in doing that. So the chairs were in the basement, and stenciled on the bottom it says Munson State Hospital. So we looked at them and thought, what can we do to remember that heritage, to celebrate the fact that we're no longer in society at that point in time? And we thought, in a community that has so many fine artists, a wonderful art museum, let's reach out to that community. So our staff came up with the idea to outreach to artists and to say, would you take a chair and bring it to a new life? To decorate it in some way. It must remain a chair, but they're coming back, and we'll have an event on May 6th at the Art Museum. What I brought today were 3 chairs that look very different, 3 different artists.
So actually, I'm going to
Shall we
take
look
the
at them?
microphone, and we're going to take a closer look
Okay.
at these chairs.
So we have 3 very different chairs. And the first one, actually, this pink chair, was done by an artist, a local artist named Kate Murphy. Kate actually has a young child, and so there's a companion chair that's a small child's chair.
Oh, that's great.
It's funky, it has all sorts of cheerful designs and faces and characters, and it just brings energy and fun to somebody's home. The next one is actually one, I won't say what's my favorite, but Emily Sandagata, who's actually from Worcester, and she's a connection with Kate, came and put this chair together. I don't know if people can see it. When you touch, Mirwan, touch the chair, it looks like it's much more textured and tactile than it is. Of course, this fuzzy fur is just great. And then the third one is done by Ruth Nicholson, who is one of my own staff. Now, Ruth's day job is to work for us as our recreation director, but clearly she's a wonderful recreation director, but her heart is in being an artist. And if people have a chance to look at this one, there are dinosaurs and there are monsters in black and white throughout here. So you look at it and you keep seeing something new and something exciting. So we'll have about 80 chairs at the event, and over the next week, from first Thursday, there'll be a window display of chairs at our local studio, and in the month before it, other various storefronts are going to have some of our chairs in them.
Excellent.
And then we hope people will be there.
They're so worth taking a closer look. I mean, this
are.
at first glance looks like it's just zebra stripes, and you look and you realize every stripe is actually something.
A creature.
Which is amazing.
It really is. I don't have that kind of artistic eye to ever create something like this, but boy, do I admire it. So when you come into the office now, you see all these these chairs. New chairs show up every day. So May 6th, the Art Museum here in Fitchburg, there'll be hors d'oeuvres, there'll be live music. It'll be a lovely evening, both to enjoy the museum itself and bid on some of our wonderful chairs. The funds we raise that night go directly towards renovating the building. My hope truly is that a year from now, though I'm told maybe a year and a half is more realistic, we will be done, and I hope everyone will come to the ribbon cutting as we celebrate the fact that a major landmark in downtown Fitchburg has been brought back to life again.
And that's fantastic. What a great project, and all the money that's being poured into by community and people who are dedicated to seeing that space be fully utilized. So thank you, Mary. That's a big challenge. When you came and accepted the job, you knew that there was this big fundraising challenge, and you've certainly risen to the occasion.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to wrapping it up and hope that the community will support us in doing that.
Great.
Mayor Wong, thank you,
Good,
as always.
thank you. What about a phone number or contact information?
978-343-6662. And we have a fantastic website that's arc-matson.org. And that's where, if you want to renovate a square right online, you get to click and see the plans and so forth.
And
so
Matson is M-A-T-S-O-N.
M-A-T-S-O-N, yes.
Great.
Terrific.
All right. Thank you very much,
so
Mary.
much.